None of the guys I usually play with were on, and I fancied doing a bit of drop shipping. I'd done a bit of ambush earlier, but I kept getting killed, and then so I moved to domination, and we kept getting wiped out by tanks and dropships. So I thought in this one I'd bring out my dropship and at least give the infantry on my side a bit of air support, so they wouldn't have to worry so much about tanks. While you watch the match, keep in mind that sometimes those little towers, like you're seeing in front of me there on the left, they seem to pop out of nowhere, so you shouldn't really hold it against anyone who might accidentally bump into them for some reason later on. The same applies to the ground. Sometimes it appears to be a lot further away than it is, and even the best pilots can absolutely easily skid their nose along the ground by mistake. Doesn't mean they're a bad pilot. Everyone makes mistakes, so if you ever see anyone do that, which you may or may not, try not to hold it against them. One of these guys actually sends me a hate mail in game, which is almost worth more than the ISK you get at the end of the battle. It's quite a prize. I do wonder about this guy. He didn't seem to be there. He must have got killed, I guess, before getting in his tank, but I didn't want to leave it there for him, so I thought I'd better get rid of it. I'm just going to keep flying around on this one looking for vehicles. It's really difficult to hit anything with that nose turret with the rail, so the best thing to do in this case is just keep your eyes on vehicles, stick to my role, keep the ground clear for the infantry so they don't have to worry about blaster tanks. Rails are not such a problem for infantry, but they still can be. They can still destroy our labs, they can keep us held back, and they can keep us from the air as well. I keep patrolling backwards and forwards to the red line so that I'm not caught out by surprise. It's always worth doing. The CPM elections are coming up. You may have seen some stuff on the forum about it. You may be interested, you may not. The voting actually starts on the 7th of July and goes through until the 22nd of July. There's quite a few candidates now. 18 have been officially confirmed, and it's unlikely there's going to be any more. I do strongly urge you to vote. The main reason for this is that the candidates themselves are going to be elected. CCP is dedicated to there being a CPM. If there's going to be a CPM, there's going to be 7 people on it. And you want to make sure that one of those 7 people, or several preferably, are the people that you would naturally choose to be on the CPM. If you don't vote and you don't take part, the likelihood is that someone you don't necessarily approve of is going to be the person that CCP asks about what they do for you. And you want to make sure that the person that CCP talks to is someone who you respect, or someone who is able to give their opinions in a way that you feel benefits the game and you. So I strongly urge you to take part. Go have a look at all the candidates. There's plenty of interesting things to read there. Some of them are stronger than others, some of them are just having a bit of fun, but a lot of them really do believe in helping the game. When you look at my candidacy, or any of the others, don't just think about the subjects they say are their main focus. Don't vote for someone just because they say they're going to take care of dropships or tanks. You need to look at their history of delivering value to the community. Have they demonstrated that they care about the community? How long have they worked to make the game better? What have they done this year or last year for the community? Are the things they have done mainly beneficial for their corp, or their wallet, or for just the general players? And look at what they've done. What good is their promises to actually do something if in the past they've had no history of action? Look at the period of time between when they said they were going to run for the CPM and all the promises they made, and what they've done towards those promises in the period of time between when they said they were going to run and now. If they haven't done anything when they're trying to get elected, what makes you think they would then change and do things afterwards when they're already in their position? It's going to be pretty easy to vote come the 7th of July and after until the 22nd. You can just go to the website, there'll be a portal, list of candidates, click the ones you want in the order you want to vote for them, and you're done. There's going to be 7 candidates that you can choose, so out of all the list of 18 that you're presented, you can choose 7. And those are your 7 main choices. Those are the ones that you want to choose. So I urge you to choose at least 3. Choose more than 1 if you can. Otherwise, if that person that you chose as number 1 gets eliminated, then your vote disappears and it doesn't count, and you don't want that. 2 people killed there. That was sweet. Looking at this fight, you can see I'm not really getting much competition from the air. They haven't got much AV at all. So if you're watching this and you're a ground player, just keep that in mind when there's a dropship running around killing all your vehicles. It wouldn't take much to stop me. Just whip out a forged gun, or even a militia version would do the trick, because it knocks me off balance and it keeps me on my toes. I'm running a particularly weak fit in this particular game, which is just an experimental one, going for reppers and a booster. It can work well, but it generally doesn't work if you're on your own. I was lucky here, really. Normally, if I have ground support, then I can run a slightly weaker fit or a more interesting fit because I don't have to worry about AV as much. And this is my normal preference. It's why I generally play in a group when I'm in my dropship. If I'm on my own, I must always run on the ground in my commando suit. The reason being that it really helps a dropship pilot to have the ground forces take care of the infantry. You tend to find in matches where the infantry get a great advantage over you. If the other side is winning, they're free to bring out their AV and they're not contended by our team. So we just get wiped out if we're in the air. I do have to say I complain about the way that we have to refuel in this game. You know, having to stick my nose through the doorways to get my ammo does prove to be a bit of a problem. Particularly in a shield ship, it's very easy to knock off all your shields and get killed, which is extremely frustrating. You'll notice as well that there really isn't huge amounts of action sometimes when you're doing aerial patrols for vehicles. The idea is to keep an eye on the large area of the map, not just in one spot. You don't want to hang around. Got to keep moving around, checking what's coming in the red line. Are they bringing in something behind you? You know, is there a tank on your side that you need to protect? You know, give them a bit of backup. Also, check out any vehicles that are on the ground that are on your side, just to see if they've got anything on them that might need to be removed. You know, like remote explosives. See if they're being chased by scouts, hassle the scouts. Keep an eye out for LAVs to make sure they're not being jeeped. So there's a lot to do that isn't necessarily always fighting. So when you are flying a dropship, you may not necessarily be getting lots of kills. A lot of it is just to make sure you're helping your team by keeping the other team occupied, or limiting their ability to run on the ground. So I'd recommend, if you are going to run a rail Incubus, a ship like that, don't necessarily focus on infantry. It's not your strength. That's not what the rail turret's for. It really isn't very good at killing infantry. Well, it's a lot better on the side of the dropship. They are very good as side guns. As a pilot of an Incubus when you're on your own, try to just run that front rail turret as an anti-vehicle fit. And if you're running that fit, make that your focus. I mean, I do try and shoot a few people here because they're hanging around at the backside of the map, and the people we have fighting haven't really noticed them or haven't engaged them well. So I'm just trying here to keep them pinned, but I'm not really expecting to kill them. As you can see, it's very difficult to see through the nose of the ship and aim with that little dot. Someone could easily hide behind a box, so I tend not to do that. If you've got missiles, you can do it a lot better. Work on your hovering skills as well if you can. You need to be able to keep yourself nice and steady. As you see here though, I'm keeping my ship above the 2 lowest points, so that if I'm hit by swarms, I'm unlikely to touch the 2 buildings below me. Keeps me safe. It's one of the major ways I tend to lose my dropships. You get hit by a swarm, tap a building, explode. If you watched my last video when I played with Delboy, you'll notice that this can be a lot more fun when you're working with a tank on the ground. It can be kind of lonely when you're on your own, but as you see, they keep bringing in tanks and vehicles, so I do have to be vigilant. Even though I was at the base right at the other side of the map, I was keeping one eye on the red line. In fact, this tank I actually heard, which is something you must keep in mind. It's very key If you got your headset set up and these things just jumped out of nowhere where they came from, it's more likely that you'll hear them than see them because of the distances involved in the rendering, but for some reason the sound of the RDV's engine seems to travel. I like the way the vehicles handle at the moment in this build. You may be a Python pilot and haven't really played with an Incubus, so this may look kind of slow to you when I'm manoeuvring around, and it is a lot slower, but it is quite stable. Took a forge gun hit, took off most of my shields, but didn't really knock me anywhere. If I was in, say, one of the lighter ships, I would have been knocked around more. Having one of the armor ships, even though they are less maneuverable, means you have other advantages, like you're less likely to get knocked out of balance by swarms. This is particularly useful when having fights on the red line, because sometimes you can get knocked into the red line by the swarms, and by the time you've recovered your ship and pointed yourself in the right direction, you know, you're being killed again. Or that you're exploding because you couldn't get out in time. Now here I'm taking a risk, hanging around in the red line to kill this guy's tank, and I only just about make it out in time. Learn the maps as to where you come into the map and where the red line is, so that when you do go into the red line you know exactly how far it is away, so when you get out. Also, the ground, remember, sometimes hard to tell exactly where it is. We all make mistakes. I was damn lucky that I wasn't in a Python, because that probably would have killed me. Going back to get ammo is as problematic as it always is. On this map, at least I can stick my nose through the doorways to get some ammo, but on some maps, you find that the objectives are high up. Now, I just got a mail, which is awesome, because I wasn't expecting one, because no one I know is on, and it's been a quiet night. It's actually quite late when I'm playing this match. So I thought I'd better check it out. Turns out, it's from one of the tankers who I just killed in that game, and he just says, pussy. And the message is shit, which is awesome. It's a very concise message, but he did manage to get his point across. I don't see how running around in the red line in a rail tank made him a non-pussy. I think in the terms of who was a larger pussy in that match, I don't feel that I would have come out on top. I'm about to turn around, but instead of just twisting my nose round, I do a backflip. The reason for this is as I turn around, I'm now facing the right way, but I gained lots of altitude and end up in a dive. See how much speed I gained doing that. It's a great way to change direction and get going quickly. If I'd have been facing a swarm launcher at that point, rather than slowly turning around and pointing my rear at him, do a loop, get up some altitude to help you gain speed and distance from the swarms. Puts you at a great escape velocity. I fully recommend that. After dropping those uplinks, you'll notice I didn't really put them up very high. Not a great supporter of putting uplinks on rooftops, really. It tends to leave the team in a position where they spawn on the rooftops and just shoot down and don't get involved in the action. It can be actually a great way to lose a match. Don't put your uplinks too high. Put them on reasonable spots, but not in a position where your team is like to think, this is a nice safe spot, I'm not going to die, I can just sit here and camp. When that happens, you tend to find you may actually be hurting the battle. Rather than helping your team move forwards, you're telling your team, have a sit, get a coffee, this is a nice spot, you won't lose any suits, you'll get your money at the end of the match, knock yourselves out. It's been quiet now for some time. After my last red line run there isn't much going on, so I'm just kind of dodging around the map, having a look, seeing what's going on. and making sure that no enemy tanks are snuck in behind me. I mean, that's a pretty dangerous thing to do. Don't get complacent. Don't let them come in behind you, because if they do, you're likely to get rail tanked. Now I'm going to try and chase down this lav, but they are incredibly difficult to hit with the nose turret. I could do it in first person view, but you tend to find then you end up diving at the ground, so I'm just trying to hit this guy as best I can. Keep him moving. Stop him actually dropping his troops off. Stop him maybe getting out to do what he wants to do. I mean, he jumped out there to fight that infantryman, who I didn't really help, but maybe my shooting at his dropship forced him back in, and maybe that did save the infantry guy. And there's that damn bug again when you zoom in while trying to fly around the map. Probably caused by when I got out earlier to drop my uplink. That tends to be the cause of it. If you jump out, drop an uplink, jump back in, you tend to find you get this bug afterwards, which has been reported a good few times, but they really haven't done anything about it. So I'm just going to chase this guy around for a while, and I don't really do a particularly good job. But, you know, they are kind of difficult to hit, so I don't feel in some way I failed. Although, I guess eventually I do get him, which was probably lucky because he kind of turned across my path there, while that bug rears its ugly head again, and I don't know where I'm going, so I have to gain some altitude to make sure I'm in control of the ship. Nothing in the red line. Have another look, back to the point. The team's doing okay. I do decide here to try and maybe go back and help them out with the infantry, but I'm not really trying to kill the infantry. What I'm trying to do is just make sure I have enough ammo and strength left to go fly over the infantry's head, get the infantry to shoot at me, get them to maybe switch to AV. So, you know, be annoying, be visible. I don't have to worry about red line rail tanks at this point because I've got them under control. So I think a good tactic to do at this point in the battle is make their infantry switch to AV. So make sure you've got enough ammo, don't bang your nose on the resupply building because it's amateurish. This guy shoots at me, so he wants to live, so I do pop down to get him. Risky, because I don't know if he's going to stay in my ship for the whole battle, but, you know, this is what dropships are for, picking people up, taking them. When I get the opportunity, that's what I do. I don't believe in just being a fighter jet replacement. I do a bit of everything. I carry my troops around. You watch some of Pyrex's videos, you'll see I'm always doing it. So if you do see someone on the red line, be a nice guy, pick him up. If he does stay in your ship, you can always send him a message. I mean, I've taken this particular player straight to the point, and he gets out. But you also have to expect and accept that they may not get out. And sometimes that's not because they're there to troll you. Sometimes it's because it's just extremely difficult for them to tell that they're actually at the destination. So remember what side of the ship they're on and point them at a target that they might recognise. Get low enough so they can see, yeah, this is the point. Because if you've ever been a passenger in a dropship, you know it's very difficult to tell exactly where you are. Now I've got myself involved again in another lav chase, which doesn't really do much. Again, they're extremely difficult to hit. He's doing quite a good job of going through the buildings and keeping out of my way. But it's important to get rid of him because he's running a scanner. And that's problematic for my team. So even if I can't kill him or I don't kill him quickly, I can at least get him under control and stop him scanning near the base. Kind of chase him off. Shoo him away. And if you can, you kill him like that. Because, you know, a dead player is better than a scared player. And the bug appears again. I don't think it's going to go away, so I just have to put up with it in this match. But they do seem to be very keen to bring out vehicles, which I hope they will keep doing because I need the points. Now this guy, I don't know really what he's up to, but I'm going to keep chasing him because I feel that in some way it's probably going to benefit my team more than not, so I just keep chasing him. I don't think he's a particular threat though. One thing to bear in mind about the railgun is you do tend to go through your ammo quite a lot. I almost hit the wall there because of that bug, and I have lost dropships to it. Zooms in, you get disorientated, you crash. Luckily I just about missed it that time. So watch your ammo. I'm down to 36 rounds. Very easy to run out of ammo. And now a single railgun shot, push my shields back up, and I leave. So the idea being, well, it wasn't a railgun, it was a forged gun, but same difference. It is a risky fit, though. I mean, I'm very weak. It could be easily alphaed, but the match is almost over, so, you know, I'm not going to risk my ship too much. Just keep moving, keep some altitude. There's no point throwing away. What's this? What, over 500,000 is this one? I think it's 526,000. So a decent match. Well, in many ways, a very good match, because I got hate mail during the match from someone I just killed, which is a bonus. I feel in some way it should be a trophy. I certainly enjoy it. So if you see me and you feel like sending me hate mail, please do. I've got a video coming where I'm going to sit down and read out my hate mail, so if you want to be in that one, go ahead. Decent amount of cash from that too. So it was a pretty good match. And you see I'm still playing even after capping. So I'm not just a capper. And managed to make the top of the boards. Only 6 kills. I'm not exactly wiping out tons of infantry, but did get a lot of tank kills in that one. Just a reminder, the CPM election's coming up. Go to the forums, have a look at the candidates, and vote. It's important.